What's going on, everybody? We are back. It's our third round of our Dynasty rookie mock draft, one quarterback. If you have watched some of our videos or subscribed to the channel, I'm sure you've seen we've done a Superflex Dynasty rookie mock draft where we went through 4 rounds, 1 round per video. And we've done a one quarterback rookie mock draft, and we've already done round 1 and round 2. Those videos are posted. You should be able to check them out. Today, we are going over round 3. And this is probably going to be the last video for this rookie mock draft, if I'm being completely honest. Because a lot of it is actually very similar to a rookie mock draft. Let me share with you my screen. There we go. A lot of it's very similar to a Dynasty rookie mock draft, Superflex. It's just that the quarterbacks get pushed down a bit, right? So, you see the first round here, Bijan, JSN, Gibbs. Those are the top 3 skill position players that are going either in one quarterback or Superflex. Now, JSN and Gibbs are probably at the earliest the 4th round pick or 4th overall pick, most likely the 5th and 6th overall picks. Whereas Richardson, Young, and Stroud are probably 2, 3, 4. They get pushed down to probably the 2nd round, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. I think Anthony Richardson's probably the only quarterback that should be going 1st overall or in round 1 in a 1 quarterback league just because of the top end potential. Bryce Young, if you want to make a case for him going at the end of the 1st round, I don't mind it. I'm high on Bryce Young. He's my QB1 in this draft. But I can't deny that the type of fantasy impact that Anthony Richardson could have. But I think Bryce Young can really develop into a very, very talented Mahomes-like passer. His over-under for touchdown passes already his rookie year is like 26, which is pretty insane. So especially in 6-point per touchdown passing leagues, all touchdowns are 6 points. I can see making the case for Bryce Young going even in the late 1st, because I think he's going to be a consistent top 7 fantasy quarterback, maybe starting 2024. So also think Stroud should go as well. And, we've been through some of these other picks. So we're going to kind of get into it. We're just going to be touching on guys that I really, really like and where I would draft them. So the first guy we're going to talk about here is I'm probably going to go with running back Chase Brown. Chase Brown, I like his situation. I think he can be a workhorse running back, a 3-down running back. He has good speed, in the low 4.4s. His speed's going to play. I think he can catch the ball. I think he can take on a workload. And, there's a chance that Mixon's not there. And if Mixon is there, well, now you have a good handcuff. And then in 2024, we'll see. But there's already rumors about maybe moving on from Mixon. I do think Mixon's going to be there in 2023. However, there is a chance he's not. And at the worst, you have in the 3rd round here, you have a good handcuff and hopefully the running back in waiting in Chase Brown if he's good. So I think Chase Brown should be going pretty high, in my opinion. A few other guys that I like, just kind of going down and making sure. I do like to take chances on tight ends, late 2nd, 3rd round pick, in my opinion. This is where you should be taking some shots on tight ends. And again, my logic is everyone, even after the 1st round, but especially by the mid, by pick 205, everyone's kind of a crapshoot. We don't know what these guys are going to turn into. There's like a 10, 15% chance they turn into anything besides maybe a startable assets for 1 or 2 weeks. The odds are that they don't turn into much. So with that being said, if that's going to be the same for everyone, why not hit on a position of value like a Musgrave, like a tight end, like a quarterback? Hit on where if you hit on these guys in the 3rd, 4th round, it's going to be way more valuable than if you hit on a receiver who is a top 30 guy. That's just my personal opinion. So I like to take chances on tight ends here. A couple other guys that I like. I really like Israel Abanikanda or Abanikanda. I don't know exactly how to say it. But I really like him. I think he's a very, very talented running back. He's a one cut and go guy. He has super intriguing size and speed combination that it's pretty rare to find. This guy that can potentially run in the low 4.3s. That's like 215 pounds. Of course, he goes to New York. Breece Hall's there. I understand. Let me check something here. Okay, just making sure that my mic was connected, and it is. Okay, good thing, because I thought I was talking into a muted mic. Okay, but anyways, Bonnie Conda. I know he's going to the Jets. He's going to be behind Breece Hall. At the worst, again, he's going to be a super valuable running back. There's a chance that Breece Hall's not ready at the beginning of the year, or they start him off slowly. So you may get something out of Abanikanda at the beginning of the season, through the first 3-4 weeks. And again, at the worst, okay, he's a handcuff to Breece Hall. He's a super young guy. I think he's only going to be like 21 when the season starts. So by the time he hits free agency, he's going to be like, you could be looking at a Tony Pollard situation, I guess is what I'm getting at, where sometimes guys are just too good to keep off the field. Yeah. Tony Pollard, even though Zeke was good, in 2020, and Zeke was their guy, the guy they were paying, it was pretty obvious that Pollard was too good to keep off the field, and they implemented him into the system to where in 2021 and 2022, he put up good fantasy numbers. And now he hit free agency. He went back to the Cowboys. He's the Cowboys' main guy. I can see the same thing happening for Abanikanda. Maybe not this year. This year, he might be just a handcuff. But in practice, the coaches are going to see he may just be too good enough to keep off the field. So they're going to get some touches to him. They're going to work him in and get him some touches. And if he's super efficient, like a Tony Pollard, he's going to be fantasy valuable. And by the time he hits free agency, he's so young. He's only going to be like 24 years old by the time he hits free agency. So in 4 years' time, you could be looking at a starting running back somewhere. Yeah, is that a long time to hold on to a guy? For sure. But if he's at least giving you something flex-worthy, bye-week spot start kind of production, which I think he can, that's what you're looking for in round 3. Now we're probably going to get to a couple guys. I'm just going to double check and see if there's anyone that I really, really like. Yes, there is. Tank Dell. I don't want to miss him. I really like Tank Dell. I've been telling everyone this. If he was 15, 20 pounds heavier, he would have been a first-round pick. That's how good his film is. That's how good his get off the line of scrimmage is. That's how good his route running is. He has good speed. It's not blazing speed, but it's good speed. I'm just going to double check his 40-yard time, but I'm sure it's in the 4.4. It's 4.49. So he has good speed, not blazing. But his route running is maybe the best in this draft class. His get off the line of scrimmage is one of the best in this draft class. And yes, I know he's like 165 pounds, which I think makes him the smallest receiver in the NFL. So that's why I said if he was just like 20 pounds heavier, he would have been a first-round pick. People are worried about his size, and I understand. But the one way to fight back against that, to kind of mitigate the press coverage, that's what people are worried about, right? Press coverage. How's this guy going to handle press coverage? The one way, there's kind of a couple ways. There's more than a couple ways, but the two main ways of beating press coverage is one, being more physical. And he's not going to be able to do that. He's 165 pounds. But there's been plenty of receivers under 200 pounds that have succeeded. Actually, a lot of top fantasy receivers are now at or under 200 pounds. Antonio Brown, one of the best receivers over a 5-year stretch, was 185 to 190 pounds. And the reason why, the other main way to beat press coverage is you get off the line of scrimmage. If you can get off the line of scrimmage and you just burst off that line of scrimmage, players and teams are going to think twice about having press coverage on you because you're going to get beat deep, right? So I think Tank Dell has that opportunity. Now, is it likely? No. We're drafting him in the 3rd round of a Dynasty rookie mock draft. Is it likely? No. But I like where he's going to. CJ Stroud wanted him on the team, so I think there's a connection there. And that receiving room, it's nothing. There's no one to write home about as like, this is going to be the main receiver. What do they have? Nico Collins, John Mechie, who I'm glad he's coming back, but he seems like he's going to be more of a slot possession guy. I think Tank Dell could be the best receiver on Houston. So he's a guy that I really, really like here. Um, yeah, I'm gonna. There's a couple more guys I do like, but I am gonna respect draft capital a bit as well. I don't want to just completely ignore it and start drafting guys drafted in the 7th round, because I have to acknowledge, even if I am not super high on these guys, the NFL, obviously, someone in the NFL, at least one team in the NFL, was to draft them where they went. And 3rd round receivers have a much higher hit rate than a 7th round receiver or running back. So a couple guys here that I think we need, to respect draft capital. Jalen Hyatt, not a big Jalen Hyatt fan. I think he'll have a role to play. I think his ceiling is like a Will Fuller type of player, maybe like a Deshaun Jackson type of player, where they put up good seasons, not consistently good, but they put up good seasons. It was just kind of hard to predict with them. They were putting up 1,000, 1,100 yard season, maybe 7 touchdowns, but they were only getting it on like 60 catches or something. So, I think one year Deshaun Jackson, I'm just checking now, he had 82 catches for 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. If you can get one of those seasons, that's amazing. But I think it's going to be closer to his other years, his average, basically, if you take that year out of, he's going to get 55 to 65 catches, and he's going to get anywhere from 800 to 1,000 yards. And then touchdowns you can never predict. So, that's just kind of what I think with Jalen Hyatt here. Will Fuller had a couple stretches where he was really good. But I just think he's a one-trick pony. I don't think he's going to develop into an all-around receiver. But respect the draft capital. Respect he went in the 3rd round to the Giants. And respect that, he brings something that receiving room doesn't have. They have a lot of like possession slot guys. They don't have a burner necessarily. He could play that Steve Slayton. I always say Steve Slayton. Darius Slayton type of role. So, anyways, so he's a guy that you kind of have to respect there a little bit of that draft capital. Another guy I would say we have to is also, they went back to back in the draft, is Cedric Tillman. Again, not the biggest Cedric Tillman fan. I like him more than Hyatt. I'll say that much. I probably should have taken Hyatt or Tillman first and then Hyatt, but ultimately it doesn't matter. It's going to be up to you. Go for the guys that you want at this point. If you disagree with me, good, great. I hope you do. Hope you have your own opinions as well, right? That's how you really capitalize and hit on fantasy football. It's nice to have your own opinion about someone and it hits, right? Instead of just always listening to people. I'm glad you're listening. I'm giving you another perspective, but I'm not going to be right 100% of the time. So, so Cedric Tillman here, I think he can be a little bit more of a complete receiver than Hyatt. He does go to Cleveland, and it's a crowded receiving room right now with Amari Cooper, with Elijah Moore, with Donovan Peoples-Jones, was it David Bell, I think his name is, from last year. You have Njoku there. It's a crowded receiving room. I don't expect much from Tillman this year, but things can change very quickly. I always tell people, and I always point to, people were a little worried about Garrett Wilson being drafted to the Jets. I think he fell a little bit. I think he was the 3rd or 4th receiver taken in a lot of Dynasty rookie drafts, mostly because he went to the Jets and not because of his talent. Obviously, after the season, Garrett Wilson should be the wide receiver 1. He would have been the wide receiver 1 taken, maybe the 2nd overall pick, if you had to go back and redraft things in Dynasty rookie drafts. And it's because he's good, and he showed that, but also the things you were worried about. Zach Wilson, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, all those things have changed. He has Aaron Rodgers now. Elijah Moore's no longer on the team, right? I know Corey Davis is still there, but things change very quickly in the NFL. So could Cedric Tillman be like the wide receiver 2 in Cleveland next year? Yeah, easily. We still don't know what we have with Elijah Moore, right? So, and so I'm going to probably, there's a couple other guys that I like here, but I'm probably going to take a chance on another tight end here. And it's not going to be Darnell Washington. It's actually going to be Brenton Strange. I think we were all a little shocked that he went in the second round to Jacksonville, but he did. So they obviously really like him, which makes him intriguing because he's a second round tight end, which is really, really good draft capital. He's going to go to Jacksonville. He's not going to do much this year. Evan Ingram's there for one more year. Look what Evan Ingram did last year, where he had like, excuse me, where he had like 75 catches and like 750 yards. Trevor Lawrence likes his tight ends. We even saw in 2021 where there was like Dan Arnold, O'Shaughnessy. They were kind of using a couple of these guys. There was one more guy there as well that they were kind of trying to use where like if you put all their numbers together, it's like, wow, the tight end, if you combine all three tight ends for Jacksonville, it's actually a decent tight end one. So he gets drafted by Jacksonville in the second round, which is very intriguing. They obviously feel like they need to fill the void of when Ingram leaves. He's a receiving tight end prospect, and he's going to be the tight end next year. So I'm going to take a chance on him there. And I'm also going to take a chance on a guy. Again, this is where I'm going to shoot my shot. I'm going to take a chance on a guy like a Hendon Hooker. I guarantee you, Jalen Hurts probably went third or fourth round in your Dynasty rookie drafts, one quarterback leagues, because he was taken in the second round. He went to the Eagles. You weren't so excited about it. Carson Wentz was there. And it's a one quarterback league, so you're not going to value quarterbacks as much. Where would Jalen Hurts go now in a Dynasty startup draft? You have Mahomes, you have Allen, and then you can make the case for Hurts being the quarterback 3. So it can happen that quickly. Hooker is a talented player. Yes, he's older, I understand. But he goes to Detroit. That team is stacked offensively. They got Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be there at least a couple more years. You got Jameson Williams, who's going to be there at least a couple more years. You just got Jahmyr Gibbs as a receiving back, who's going to be there 4 or 5 years. They just drafted Sam Laporta, a talented tight end. This team is stacked, and they're going to be for the next 2-3 years. If the Lions, there's a few different things that can happen. If the Lions do really well and they go far in the playoffs, AFC or NFC Championship game or something like that, they're probably going to re-sign Goff. And this pick for picking Hooker is not going to look great. But if they have a bad, disappointing season, they're probably going to move on from Goff. Even if they have a good season, make the playoffs, don't win a playoff game, I think they still move on from Goff because they're going to have to pay Goff a lot of money. Whereas they can look at Hooker, and they're going to be seeing him in practice. So that if they do move on from Goff, that means Hooker is the man. They can pay him nothing compared to what they would have to pay Goff, and they can just stack their team with talent because they're not paying a quarterback. That's kind of the best. That's like the best formula in order to win a Super Bowl is get a quarterback on a rookie deal and stack your team. Chiefs did it with Mahomes. Seahawks did it with Wilson. The Bengals were able to do it with Burrow, get to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to take a chance on Hooker here. Again, everyone's a crapshoot, so why not? A couple other guys. I'm just going to double check where they went. Excuse me, guys. I'm still feeling a little under the weather here. And, kind of the same case can be made for Levis. I can't let him – if I'm going to take Hooker, I probably can't let Levis go too far as well. So I'm going to take Levis here. Really like Levis. I like him more than other people. I think he goes to a good situation where he can probably sit behind Tannehill at least half the season, maybe the whole season if the Titans do well. Learn from Tannehill. I know Tannehill's a lot is made about his comments like, my job's not to help people. I think he's helping them, but it basically saying like, look, I'm trying to still like compete. I'm still trying to be like the quarterback 1. I don't want to lose my job. That's what he's trying to say. He's not just, yep, I'm going to train this guy to take my job and, my time's done type of thing. So, I think he can learn from Tannehill. I like the coaching staff there with Vrabel. So I think he goes to a decent spot, and I think Will Levis has some talent. He now has a chip on his shoulder. So I'm fine with taking Levis here. Now, Kayshon Boutte, he went in the 6th round. I'm not super excited. I'm not a big Boutte fan, to be honest. There's a couple other guys that I like. over him. I think I'm just double checking. Zach Evans went in the 6th. Okay. Yeah, a couple other guys here. I am going to take Schoonmaker here in this round. I think he deserves to go. A wide receiver I really like is A.T. Perry. Really like A.T. Perry. Liked him pre-draft. Now, he didn't get the draft capital I was hoping. He went in the 6th round. I was hoping he would go like 4th round. I knew he wasn't going to be a day 2 pick, or, obviously not a day 1, but definitely not a day 2. He's a project receiver, but I think he has all the tools to develop into a complete receiver, which not a lot of receivers in this draft, I don't think they have. And so I like the situation he goes to. I think he finds himself, he goes to New Orleans. I think he can easily rise the ranks there. And we're talking 2024, A.T. Perry is the wide receiver 2 for New Orleans, because Michael Thomas can't stay healthy. They have Olave, and then they have Rashid Shaheed's nice. He's probably a good 3 guy. That's all they really have. So I think A.T. Perry can really develop into a wide receiver 2 by 2024. So I like him. And then I'm going to say, obviously Schoonmaker should probably be taken here. He went in the 2nd round, so all these 2nd round tight ends are going. He went to Dallas. And yeah, I think he's an interesting prospect. I'm not super high on him, like his receiving ability. I think he's going to be like a better NFL player than a fantasy guy. I can see him being like an Austin Hooper type of guy, a Dawson Knox kind of type of guy, where like half their value is their blocking. Dawson Knox is a great blocker, and that's half his value for the Bills is the blocking, and the receiving is kind of like the cherry on top. So yeah, like could he be a little bit more than that? Of course. Dak obviously likes to throw to tight end, so could he have a few Dalton Schultz type years there? I could see it. But I think Strange, for example, comparing him to Strange has a little bit higher of a ceiling, in my opinion, because he is more of just like a pure receiving tight end. And then one last guy I am going to take here, just making sure I didn't forget anyone that was drafted. I know Washington's here. I just don't see it. Maybe in the 4th round. Zach Evans is interesting. But the guy I really want to take is Dwayne McBride, because this guy could shoot up draft boards. Dalvin Cook, I still think there's a chance he's gone once he can pass a physical, or maybe after June 1st. And then you're looking at you have Madison. We have a couple other guys that they drafted or had on the team last year. And then McBride, he could have, if anyone's going to have a Pacheco-like impact, a late round, 5th, 6th, 7th rounder that comes in and takes over the job and looks good and becomes fantasy relevant, Dwayne McBride's that guy. He's not going to catch the ball, but he's a pure north-south runner, so he could be very much like a Pacheco. So there's my 3rd round, guys. That's probably going to be it for our mock drafts. I know a lot of people are probably already drafting. If you're not, leave a comment, and I can try and help you with some of your decisions. I'd love to do that. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I think we're like at 167, which is awesome to see. We're almost at 175. So yeah, I appreciate it, guys, if you watched, and I will catch you all next time.